So we'll start the class. Yes. So we had finished alkenes, I think, right? And we'll go with alkenes now. We'll do the preparation of alkenes today, right? So alkenes are compounds with general formula CnH2n. They are compounds containing carbon-carbon double bond. All of us are aware of it. The hybridization of carbon in alkene is sp2. The bond angle in alkene is 120 degree. If you talk about carbon-carbon bond length, it is I think 1.36, 1.34, 1.34 angstrom. And if you talk about bond energy, it is approximately 146 kilocalorie, right? So this is all about your alkene's basic structure. Now we'll quickly go towards general methods of preparation of alkene. Methods of preparation of alkenes, right? Methods of preparation of alkenes. In this, the first method that we will take, see, when you remember any second year also, this will be a problem. How to remember a chapter in organic chemistry? In organic chemistry, we'll study preparation, physical properties, chemical properties, mainly these three things. In preparation, you should remember from Rahul, notes are uploaded, man. Which notes you are talking about, Rahul? Wednesday class notes are uploaded. Wednesday class notes are uploaded. Yesterday I did not had class only, Rahul. I had last class on Wednesday, and Wednesday class notes I have uploaded. Now, methods of preparation of alkenes. Tomorrow, your test will be according to the schedule sent on your group. I think there is statistics test tomorrow only. I think there is only maths test tomorrow. That is statistics, as far as I remember. Right? So, general methods of preparation of alkenes. First method that we will discuss will be, so that is how I was telling you. How do you remember it? I can prepare alkenes from, what? From alkynes, from alcohols, right? From alkyl halides. So there are various ways. So first method that we are discussing today is from alkynes. So we can prepare alkenes from alkynes, right? So let us see, there are two ways of preparing alkene from alkynes. Let me write it here for you. So first one is the also known as hydrogenation of alkyne. So by hydrogenation of alkyne, you can form alkenes. The first here is we are going to consider cis hydrogenation. Cis hydrogenation. Now let us see how do we carry out this cis hydrogenation. Basically, if you take alkyne and treat it with the following, any of these following: H2PD BSO4. Okay, this is what you can use. All right. Now, if you take H2PD BSO4, right? H2PD BSO4. This is one reagent. This is called Rosenmund it is called Rosenmund reducing agent. Then you can also use H2PD H2PD, calcium carbonate with heat, right? You can use any of these. Scroll up. I'm going down back, right? Now, this is another catalyst you can use. This also you can use. You can use one more catalyst, that is H2 in nickel borides, right? Nickel borides with heat. They are also known as P2 type catalyst. They are also known as P2 type catalyst, right? So any of these three, if you use, your product obtained in such case will be alkenes, are here, but you will get a cis alkene. That means both the hydrogen will come from the same side, and your alkene obtained will be a cis alkene, right? So you'll get a cis alkene. P2 is a nomenclature, Pranesh. P1 type, P2 type, that's given a nomenclature. That is dependent upon the ratio of nickel and boron atoms, right? That's all. Now, cis alkene you will get always. That means both the hydrogen will be added from the same side. Very, very important, right? Okay, sorry. Yes. Now, if you see this, what will happen if I directly use alkyne and add, can't I add H2PD or nickel directly? Why I'm adding calcium carbonate? Why I'm adding barium sulfate? So if I add directly, I'll first get alkenes. Then alkenes will be further hydrogenated to alkanes. So alkynes will be converted to alkanes if you use normal catalyst, right? But if you use calcium carbonate or barium sulfate, then reaction will stop at alkene. Very, very important. Let us see why it happens like this. So see, the mechanism of this cis hydrogenation is, you take a metal surface, right? Metal surface has pores, right? Metal surface has pores. So first hydrogen gas comes, the hydrogen molecule bond will break, and this bond will be formed, so that you will get one hydrogen like this, one hydrogen like this. Now alkyne will come, right? And this bond will break. So this carbon will take one hydrogen, this carbon will take one hydrogen. So you can see both the hydrogens are coming from the same side of the metal surface. Therefore, you'll get cis alkene. But when you add barium sulfate or calcium carbonate, right? Barium sulfate or calcium carbonate, they basically cover surface of catalyst. They cover pores. They cover pores of the catalyst, therefore reduces efficiency of catalyst. They will cover the surface of the catalyst and reduce the efficiency of catalyst. So if the pores are filled, alkene you get here. Now alkene which you get here will not be further hydrogenated to alkenes. It will not be further hydrogenated to alkenes. Why it will not be further hydrogenated? Because now the catalyst pores are already filled by barium sulfate or calcium carbonate. So there are not enough pores, there is no enough available surface to carry out the catalyst. That is the function of adding barium sulfate and calcium carbonate to this. If you do not add them, you'll get alkanes. If you add them, you'll get alkenes, which alkene you'll get cis alkene. Now let us say how you can get trans alkene. So trans alkene you can get by, when you take an alkyne and treat it with sodium in liquid ammonia, sodium in liquid ammonia, right? Or you can also use lithium in liquid ammonia, right? Then your addition will happen trans, and you will get a trans alkene. Your alkene obtained will be a trans alkene. This is also called Birch reduction. This is also called Birch reduction. It's a name reaction. Very, very important it is. Let us see how this mechanism works. I'll explain you. See the mechanism of this reaction. If you take alkyne, why you get trans, that will also be answered from there, right? So first, you have a sodium. Whenever you use metals, the reaction go by SET mechanisms. SET means single electron transfer. So sodium will lose one electron to form Na plus and E minus, right? So this bond, which is present over here, will undergo homolytic cleavage to give you a kind of a diradical. One radical here and one radical here. So this extra radical will take the electron, and when this takes the electron, you will get a negative charge here because there are two electrons now. Now, due to repulsion between these two, they will go opposite to each other. So now it will be arranged like this. Now it will be arranged like this. Radical anion here, negative charge because extra electron, and radical here. So this intermediate, students, is called radical anion. It is called radical anion, right? Now next step, you have taken ammonia. Ammonia will come. Ammonia will lose H plus to form NH2 minus and H plus. H plus. So the bond will break like this. Sorry. H plus will be released. This H plus will be taken by C minus, so that you get double bond R. You get H here, and there is a radical here. Repeat the same process again. Sodium will first give electron, which will be taken by this, and it will get a negative charge. H, negative charge. It will again take H plus from ammonia. And you can see now, both the hydrogens are added to the opposite side. So you'll get a trans alkene, right? Which will undergo cleavage. Pritesh, you're talking about whom? Pritesh, you're talking about whom? Now, this is the general mechanism of Birch reduction, right? Now let us see some example of it, right? Now, if you take the benzene, benzene can also undergo Birch reduction, right? Always remember, this radical anion will always try to remain far apart from each other, as far apart as possible, right? As far apart as possible. Why you guys don't ask in between? In the end, you ask me to repeat the whole thing again. Then it will take a lot of time, no? If you have any doubts in between, you ask in between. Why do you want the whole thing to be repeated again? So first of all, this triple bond will break like this homolytically. You'll get a diradical, one radical here, one radical here. Now sodium has lost one electron. Radicals are neutral, so it will accept an extra electron to get a 2 electron, and a negative charge will come on this negative charge will come on this carbon, right? So when negative charge comes on this carbon, when negative charge comes on this carbon, just a minute. Yes, when a negative charge comes on this carbon, then what will happen? This two electrons and one electron will repel each other, so that this electron will come here and these two electrons will be here 180-degree apart from each other to avoid repulsion. So this negative charge will accept H plus from ammonia. So once it accepts H plus, so carbon will take H plus to form CH bond, right? And then the same process repeat it again. There is a free radical here. Sodium will give electron to it. It will become 2 radical, negative charge. Again, it will take H plus from ammonia so that it will get a CH bond here. Both the CH bond are opposite to each other because in your radical and anion stays at 180-degree apart. Since they stay at 180-degree apart, both the hydrogen will be attached at 180-degree apart. Is it clear now, Prashant? All right. Now you see this in a benzene. In a benzene, how can you draw this mechanism again? Same process. You'll break this bond homolytically. You'll get a diradical here, right? Then it will accept electron and form a radical anion. But before that could happen, the two radical are close to each other, right? So next bond will also break homolytically. So radical on this carbon and radical on this carbon and radical on this carbon will combine to form a bond. So that you get a double bond here, double bond this as it is. There is one radical here now. There is one radical here now. Now you can see both the radicals are at far apart. Now they will accept electron from sodium, followed by, so you'll get radical anion. So you'll get radical anion, negative charge, free radical. It will accept H plus from ammonia. Ammonia will give H plus NH2 minus. This will take H plus from ammonia and you will get H bond here and a free radical here. Repeat the same process with this free radical also. First sodium, then ammonia. You'll get another CH there. So with benzene, your Birch reduction product is this, right? All right, students, we'll have a poll for 2 minutes. After that, we'll start taking more examples, right? All right. So you can see here. So any doubt in this example, students? Any doubt in this example? Benzene. So this is a product of benzene you will get. Birch reduction product of benzene that you will get. We'll take few more examples for Birch reduction. All right. Now let's take one very important thing here, that is terminal alkynes. Terminal alkynes will not give Birch reduction. Terminal alkynes will not give Birch reduction. Very, very important. Terminal alkynes will not give Birch reduction. This is very, 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 very important. Now let us see why it does not give Birch reduction. Because if you take a terminal alkyne, right? So in this case, you are using sodium in ammonia. Remember, ammonia is a Lewis base because it has lone pair of electrons. And we have seen that alkynes are sp hybridized. If they are sp hybridized, percentage S character is more, electronegativity is more, minus I effect is more, therefore acidic character is more. So therefore, with terminal alkynes, this hydrogen is acidic in nature. It will be lost as H plus, and you will get RC triple bond C minus, Na plus, right? And this H plus will combine with ammonia to form NH4 plus. So this is a kind of acid-base reaction called neutralization reaction. It is a neutralization reaction, right? Now in this neutralization reaction, this is acting as acid and this is acting as a base. So always remember, a terminal alkyne will never give a neutralization reaction, right? Let us take one more question here. Yes. So I'm drawing a question here. Try to write its product. Yes. So we have a carbon, and hydrogen here on wedge, methyl here on dash, right? And this, there is a alkyne here, triple bond, and R, right? And if you treat it with this, let us say it is, yes, this is your molecule. This is given like this, exactly like this. If you treat it with sodium in liquor ammonia, you'll get a product P, right? Now, product P, which you are going to get here, let me take this alkyl group also as methyl. Yes. Now the product P which you are going to get here is A, going to show geometrical isomers, B, going to be optically active compound, C, going to be optically inactive compound, D, none of the above, right? So once you are done with this poll, we'll do this question. So meanwhile, you solve this, right?
Yeah, Nishikant sir.
Meanwhile, you solve this.
Sorry for interrupting. Yeah, sorry. Thanks.
We'll raise a poll for this.
I have ended the poll. You can now conduct your polls.
Wait a minute, Prajwal. Yes. So we'll launch a poll now. Yes. Oh, sorry. 1 minute. Just a minute. Don't end it. Don't do it. Yes. You can start solving this. The product of this particular reaction will be optically active compound, optically inactive compound. It will show geometrical isomers, none of the above. Rajshekar product are acidic or neutral. Rajshekar, you are asking about this product. If you are asking about this product, it is a salt. And it is a basic salt. Because it's not a basic salt. It's a kind of a neutral, close to neutral salt, I would say. That depends upon whether which is a stronger acid, your alkyne or ammonia. It depends upon pK of them. All right. There is a problem here. All right, you can vote, but there is a problem in this question. Done. There are more than one correct option available here. So please choose wisely. There are more than one correct option available here. So please choose wisely. All right. So we are ending this poll now on a count of 3, 2, 1. So very few of you are voting here. So please vote fast and more. So let's first draw the product. It's a Birch reduction. So it will give you trans alkene. So alkene drawn will be like this. Trans. This is a carbon having hydrogen dash methyl. Then there is a carbon dash methyl. Right? For optical activity, let us say whether there are chiral carbon or not. So there is only one carbon possible here, that is this carbon. If you check this carbon, it is having methyl hydrogen. Third group is double bond with CH3. Here also third group is double bond with CH3. So students, is this carbon chiral? No. This is not chiral carbon. This is not a chiral carbon. If it is not a chiral carbon, then it is not optically active. So it is optically inactive compound. So definitely C is correct, right? Another important thing is it will show geometrical isomers because there is a double bond and hydrogen and methyl are different groups. So it can show geometrical isomers as well. So both option A and C are correct. But the irony here is most of you have voted for B, which is probably the only wrong option among A, B, C. Right? So you're not just wrong, you're weirdly wrong. All right. So I hope it is clear. Any doubt in this question? Yes? Any doubt in this question, students? All right. Let's move ahead with the next preparation method. That is by second preparation is by dehydration of alcohol. Or you can first write from alcohols. from alcohols. How can you prepare it from alcohols? By dehydration reaction. By dehydration reaction, right? So now by dehydration of alcohol, you'll get a alkenes, right? So this reaction is very important. So pay attention and listen to it very, very carefully. What happened, Joston? Any doubt, Joston? If you have any doubt, Joston, please post on the chat. Right. So see this reaction carefully, students. I will, before beginning of the reaction itself, I'll write one statement here, that is, carbocation is formed as intermediate. Carbocation is formed as intermediate in this reaction. In this reaction, what do you form as intermediate? Carbocation, right? For example, if you take CH3, CH2, CH2, or let's simply take ethanol only. Let's take smallest possible, ethanol. So I'm going to write the reaction for ethanol. If you take ethanol and react it with concentrated NaOH, concentrated H2SO4, right? Temperature is important, 160 to 180 degrees Celsius. At a temperature of about 160 to 180 degrees Celsius, what happens is you'll get ethene and water will be liberated. So how it happens? This reaction from the one carbon OH will be eliminated, from the other carbon H will be eliminated. So H2O is eliminated, H from one carbon, OH from other carbon, H2O. One bond of this carbon is free, one bond of this carbon is free. They will form a bond with each other and you'll get a alkene. That is a general reaction. Let us go into the mechanism of this. If you go into the mechanism of this, so mechanism of this is very, very important. So let me take CH3, CH2, OH for you. Now, in the presence of acid will release what? It will release H plus ion. If acid releases H plus ion, H plus is Lewis acid. It is electron deficient. OH has lone pair of electron. So what it will do? OH will donate lone pair of electron to H plus to form which bond? Coordinate bond. You'll get, since oxygen is donating lone pair of electrons, so it will get a positive charge. There is one more carbon, CH2, CH3. Now what will happen in next step? See carefully. Oxygen is positively charged. So how can you remove the positive charge of oxygen? If you break this bond like this, oxygen will get a negative charge. It is already having positive. So positive and negative will be neutralized. And what is eliminated? H2O. So that you will get CH3, CH2. Now carbon will get what charge? Positive charge. That means carbocation. Now what happens in next step? Carbocation once formed, next step may H plus will be eliminated like this. So carbon gets negative, negative and positive will form a bond with each other. So that you'll get CH2 double bond CH2. Correct? Now, if you see this, alkene is formed and water is formed as the byproduct. Any doubt in this step, students? You can ask. Any doubt till now? Yes? If you have any doubt till now, please ask. All right. So I hope these basic steps are clear to you. Second step, Aditi, in the second step, what is happening here is, in the second step, this carbon is having positive charge, carbocation, right? Carbocation is having a positive charge. If there is a positive charge on this carbon, next carbon should try to become negative. How can it become negative? When it loses, when this bond break like this carbon will get a negative charge. and what will be released? H plus will be released. Carbon negative and positive will form a double bond with each other, right? Pritesh, very good. So alcohol OH is having lone pair, it will donate lone pair to H plus. I'll repeat again. So that oxygen donate lone pair to H plus. So oxygen will get a positive charge. So oxygen will get a positive charge here, right? Now, next step, mein, this CO bond will break like this. This CO bond will break like this. So that oxygen gets a negative charge. Negative and positive will become neutral. So water is eliminated. Next step, mein, now this carbon will get a positive charge. When this bond breaks like this carbon will get a positive charge and a carbocation is formed, right? Now this carbocation, if this carbon is having positive, next carbon should be negative. Therefore, this bond will break like this. H plus is released. The carbon gets negative charge. Negative and positive will combine with each other to form a double bond. All right. So I hope it is clear now, Pritesh. Now, student, the most important part of this reaction, I'm writing it here. That is carbocation have tendency to show rearrangement. Carbocation have tendency to show rearrangement. That means carbocations always rearrange themselves. Now this rearrangement is of three types. It is either hydride shift or methyl shift. I'll take example of all three, but I'll take one example. So pay attention. Hydride or methyl shift. Then it is another type of is called ring expansion. Then it is ring contraction. There are three types of rearrangement a carbocation can undergo, right? Tarun, you have joined new, is it? Tarun, have you joined new, Tarun? Because this is what we are doing in resonance last chapter also. So see, Tarun, we are not saying positive negative combine to form a pi bond. We are saying positive charge and negative charge. Basically, this is assumption. I am writing it so that you can understand better. Actual mein it does not happen like this. Actual mein concept is one bond is broken here, right? One valency is free here. So when this carbon one valency is free, this carbon one valency is free, they will combine with each other to form a bond. That is the concept. But it is not easy to understand. So to explain you the arrow, I say positive and negative combine to form a bond. That is true also because positive and negative come close to each other. They come close to each other until they form a bond, right? I hope it is clear now, Tarun. Right. Now, if you see this, there is a hydride shift, methyl shift, ring expansion. So I'm taking the example of hydride or methyl shift. Now, you didn't ask, but why carbocations show rearrangement? Carbocations show rearrangement to become more stable. So carbocation rearranges to more stable carbocation. They rearranges to more stable carbocation. They always rearrange themselves to more stable carbocation, right? Now, let us take examples. I'll take example of all the three types of rearrangement. The first one is hydride and methyl shift. So please focus carefully, very carefully. So I'm going to take an example here. CH3, right? CH3, H. Then you can take CH2, CH2, OH here. Let's say this is your alcohol, right? If this is your alcohol, then you treat it with concentrated H2SO4. Again, So what was the first step of the mechanism? In the presence of H plus, OH will get protonated, right? So if that happens, CH3, C, CH3, H, CH2, CH2, O has donated lone pair to H plus. So it will get a positive charge. To neutralize this positive charge, this bond will break like this. I'm writing the mechanism again. CH3, C, CH3, H, CH2, CH2. Carbocation is this. Now all of you see, what is the nature of this carbocation? Carbon having positive charge bonded to one carbon directly. So this carbocation is primary in nature. We know what is the order of stability of carbocation. Tertiary is more stable than secondary, then primary. So a primary carbocation will always try to rearrange to secondary. Secondary will try to rearrange to tertiary, right? Let us take examples. Now what I'm doing here is I'm going to write this CH2 as H bond separated. So all of you please pay attention. This is really critical. So what will happen? This CH bond will break like this. So that H will get what charge? H will get negative charge. Negatively charged H will migrate and bond to positively charged CH2. Right? Negatively charged H will migrate and bond to positively charged CH2. So that what will happen after that? You have CH3, C, CH3, H, CH, CH2 gains H and becomes CH3. What is the charge on this middle carbon now? The bond when it is breaking like this carbon will get what charge? Positive. Right? So what do you see here? The nature of the carbocation is what now? Secondary. The secondary carbocation you got. So which is more stable? Primary or secondary? Secondary carbocation. Right? Now, next step. This is secondary. If you get positive charge on this carbon, it will be tertiary. So what will happen in next step? In next step, another CH bond will migrate like this. H minus will migrate like this. This is what we are doing. H minus is shifting. So you say it is hydride shift. This is also hydride shift. So when you do that, what you'll get is CH3, CH3. This carbon gets a positive charge. This carbon becomes CH2, CH3. Right? So now see the students, this carbocation is tertiary in nature. Right? You can see this carbocation is tertiary in nature. Now, all the rearrangements are over. Now further rearrangement cannot happen. There is no further rearrangement possible because tertiary carbocation is more stable. Now last step is to form double bond. Now see that also carefully. If you take this carbon is having positive charge, next carbon, this CH bond can break or this CH bond can also break. So you can get two different alkenes here. You can get two different alkenes here. Let us see what are the two different alkenes you'll get. Let us say this is A hydrogen, this is B hydrogen. So from A hydrogen, if you remove A hydrogen, you'll get a negative charge here. Negative charge and positive charge will form a double bond. So you got this alkene, CH2, CH3. And if you remove the B hydrogen, this carbon will get negative charge. Negative positive will form a bond. And you'll get CH3, C double bond, CH, CH3. Now there are two alkenes. Let's say alkene 1 and alkene 2. Which is our major product? Alkene 1 or alkene 2. Right? So now there are two alkene, alkene 1 and alkene 2. So which is your major product? Right? So we can count that alkene will be more major product, which is your more stable alkene. So see this alkene, this is a double bond carbon. This is next carbon. This is next carbon. So total how many alpha hydrogen you have? 5. So this alkene is stabilized by 5 hyperconjugating structures, whereas there is a double bond here. This carbon and this carbon has double bond. This alkene has 3 alpha hydrogen here, 3 alpha hydrogen here, 3 alpha hydrogen here. It is stabilized by how many hyperconjugating structures? 9. So in that case, which will become your major product, students? Your major product in such case will become second product, right? Second product is your major product. You'll study in the next reaction itself. It is also called Seydt-Jeff product. More stable alkene is also called Seydt-Jeff product. Less stable alkene is also called Hofmann product. Less stable alkene is also called Hofmann product. Third step. Now the counting of step will be difficult. So hydride shift I will explain again. So see carefully this one. So what happens in hydride shift is, so please pay attention. In hydride shift I'll explain again. So this CH bond, right? This bond will break like this, right? So H will get a negative charge. So negatively charged H will migrate and bond to positively charged carbon, so that CH2 becomes CH3. And when this bond breaks like this, when bond breaks like this, right, like this carbon will get what charge? Positive charge, right? Same thing. So now you got a secondary carbocation, carbon having positive charge bonded to 2 carbon directly. Similarly, you did the hydride shift from the next carbon here. You got a positive charge. If there was a methyl, methyl can also do the same type of shift. Yes, students, I am basically scrolling the mechanism again. Please see, go through all these steps and let me know if there is any doubt in this mechanism. Please see the mechanism again and let me know if there is any doubt in this mechanism. All right, so you can see, so no doubt, I don't see anyone asking anything. Is the first step, how many coordinate bond is there? Only one. Other one is a normal covalent bond. OH bond is a normal covalent bond. OH bond is a normal covalent bond. So there is only one bond. All right. Yes. Now there is something called migratory aptitude, students. Migratory aptitude. Right. So in your migratory aptitude, generally you observe that hydride has more migratory aptitude than tertiary alkyl group, then secondary, then primary, right? So hydride is more than tertiary alkyl group, then secondary alkyl group, then primary alkyl group. Just a minute, students. Let me check the light. All right. So what I was saying was, this is the order of migration, and phenyl is greater than hydride. So this is generally the order. There is some discrepancy between hydride and phenyl, right? What is migratory aptitude means? If you have hydrogen and alkyl group both present on a carbon, then who will migrate first, right? So hydride has maximum tendency to do shift. Basically, you can say migratory aptitude, or you can say order of shifting ability. shifting ability. So you have done hydride shift here. If you had alkyl group also, who will shift? Hydride or alkyl? Hydride. So hydride, you should have cross questioned, sir, why hydride is shifting? Why not methyl is shifting? So to answer that, there is an order. So in general, better electron releasing groups. That means electron rich groups. More is the electron rich group, better is the migratory aptitude. For example, in aryl also, if you have these, carbon has these two groups. Carbon has benzene pe OCH3 and it has a benzene group having NO2. So which will have more migratory aptitude? OCH3, right? So better electron rich, that means plus R and plus I wale groups will be more, having more tendency for migration, right? Now let us take the second type of rearrangement example, that is ring expansion. That is ring expansion, right? pH is not phenol, man. How many times you are doing nomenclature, say classes, still you are not understanding the difference between phenol and phenyl. pH means phenyl, man. Benzene ka alkyl group is phenyl. Phenol is benzene pe OH. Phenol is PHOH. Phenol is PHOH. Phenyl is just benzene ka alkyl group. Right? Now ring expansion examples, I'll take some example of this, see carefully. If you take, right, if you take 6-membered ring like this, OH, right? Now what will happen in this case? Concentrated H2SO4 if you treat, same mechanism. First step, protonation of H plus, right? So that you will get 5-membered ring, OH, dative bond, H plus charge. Next step में water will be eliminated. Next step में water will be eliminated and you will get a carbocation. Positive charge on this carbon. Now see this step very, very carefully. See this step very, very carefully. I'm numbering it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. First thing you should note here, whenever there is a positive charge on carbon next to ring carbon, on carbon next to ring carbon, always ring expansion takes place, right? Remember this, always ring expansion will take place. So this is a carbon, ring carbon, next to the ring carbon is this carbon, it is having positive charge, so ring expansion will take place. So what will happen in this 2,6 bond will break like this. If this bond break like this, C will get a negative charge. Now this negatively charged 6 will try to bond to a positively charged 1 carbon. So it will bond to positively charged 1 carbon. So you can show it rather like this. You can show it like this, that it is 6 carbon is getting negative charge. It is bonded to first carbon having a positive charge. So let us see how it will overall look like. Overall, it will look like this. So bond between 2 and 6 is broken. So I'm not showing that. Whereas 6 and first carbon have been bonded to each other. So I'm showing that, right? Then it is like this. Now this carbon, second carbon will get what charge? Positive charge, right? Student, any doubt in this step? Please see this carefully. Please see this step carefully. And if you have any doubt in this test, please ask. Yes. So the last step, I am repeating again, please see carefully. So what will happen? First thing is, whenever there is a positive charge on a ring, on a carbon, outside the ring carbon, always ring expansion will take place, right? Now, there is a ring carbon, this carbon, next carbon is this. So whenever there is a positive charge on a carbon next to the ring expansion will take place, right? Dhanush, wait. Now what will happen is, yes, Athar, please see this carefully. If you see this whole does not happen in one or two steps. It happens simultaneously. Bond breaking and forming happens simultaneously. So what will happen? The next bond, that is this bond, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Between 2 and 6, the bond between 2 and 6 will break like this, so that 6 gets a negative charge. Negatively charged 6 will form a bond with positively charged first carbon, and second carbon will get what charge? Positive charge, right? Because you know, if there is a bond like this, if you break it like this, the arrow carbon gets negative charge, non-arrow carbon gets positive charge, right? Now, see carefully what happens then. Second, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So bond between C1 and C6 is formed. Bond between C2 and C6 is broken. Correct? So bond between C2 and C6 is broken, and the bond between C1 and C. 1 minute. I think it is raining like hell. Siddharth, it is raining like hell. That's what I was saying. Okay, let's come back to the topic. Let's come back to the topic. At least in Hubli, it is raining like hell. I don't know about Dharwad and other places. All right. So let's discuss this, students. What I was saying again, let me come to this. The bond between first and sixth carbon is formed, and the bond between second and sixth carbon is broken, right? So you can see here, C1 C6 bond is formed, C2 C6 bond is broken, right? So you see, C2 and C6 bond is broken, C1 and C6 bond is formed, second carbon will get positive charge. So this can also be written as 6-membered ring, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, positive charge on second carbon, right? Okay, so there will be a positive charge on second carbon, right? Any doubt in this? Yes? Any doubt on this? Has everybody understood this? Repeat last step. Oh my God, I have repeated again. It will not be hexane, Dhanush, because cyclization is happening. Positive, negative will combine to form a bond. No. Why they will separate like this? Right? Yes. Now, so when the bond breaks like this, Naren, please see carefully. This is the last time I can explain, beta. Otherwise, we will never be able to finish our syllabus. So Naren, you see here, there is a positive charge. See, third time I'm drawing the structure. This is like this: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So first carbon is having positive charge. So this carbon is having positive, next bond, that is this bond, will break like this. When this break like this carbon will get negative, so that positive and negative will form a bond with each other. First and sixth carbon is forming a bond. That is what we have shown. First and sixth carbon is forming a bond. And the bond between second and sixth carbon is broken. That is what we have shown. Bond between second and sixth carbon is broken. When you break a bond like this, the arrow atom gets negative, non-arrow atom gets positive. So you see here, sixth is arrow atom, it got a negative charge, which combined with positive charge here. Second is non-arrow atom, so it will get what charge? Positive charge. So I hope, Naren, now you have understood this. Now in the last step, what will happen? From the next carbon, H plus will be lost, so that you will get a positive negative double bond. You'll get a cyclohexene, right? Cyclohexene. So your product obtained will be cyclohexene, right? So remember this. This is an example of ring expansion. When it will happen? Whenever there is a positive charge on a carbon next to ring carbon. Whenever a carbon next to ring carbon has a positive charge, ring expansion will take place. Next case is third and last, ring contraction. We'll take the example of ring contraction. Now, why ring expansion is taking place? Why ring expansion is taking place? Because six-membered ring we have studied in conformations is more stable than five-membered ring. Stability of six-membered ring is more than five-membered ring. In fact, six-membered rings are most stable rings, right? So I hope it is clear. Yes, let's take an example of ring contraction. So if you take the example of ring contraction, let us take a seven-membered ring and OH here. So first step, again same, concentrated H2O4, OH will get protonated, so that you get OH 2 plus, it will lose a molecule of water, right? So that you get a carbocation like this. Positive charge here. Again, see the numbering carefully. Again, see the numbering carefully, very carefully. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. When positive charge is on ring carbon, ring contraction will take place. Right? Now, why here ring contraction will take place? Because six-membered ring is more stable than seven-membered ring also. So this six-membered ring will try to get converted into six-membered ring. How can it do that? So see carefully. This is a carbon having positive charge. Next sigma bond, that is this bond. So see carefully. This bond will break like this. When it break like this, second carbon will get positive. Third carbon will get negative. Now third carbon getting negative charge will form a bond with first carbon, right? So that what you'll get something like this, right? So third and first carbon is forming a bond because third got negative charge due to bond breakage and first was already positive. So positive negative forms a bond with each other. Then this carbon has a second carbon and second carbon will get what charge? Positive charge. I hope it is clear. Yes. So you can see this is 4, 5, 6, 7. So this is how many membered ring now? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this is equivalent to a 6-membered ring having a methyl group on it and a positive charge, right? Now, will the rearrangement stop here? Answer is no. Why rearrangement will not stop here? This carbocation is primary carbocation. From the next carbon, we have seen hydride shift. From the next carbon, hydride will shift to this, so that you will get H here, and this carbon will get what charge now? Positive. Now it is a tertiary carbocation. Now it is a tertiary carbocation. Now rearrangement will not take place because it is more stable. So now what will happen? From the next carbon, that is this carbon you can take, or this, both are identical. H plus will be lost, and you will get double bond on this position, right? Or you can remove this H plus also, then you will get double bond at this position. You can see which is your major product. This is your major product because it will have more hyperconjugating structures, right? Last two steps. I'll repeat the mechanism again. I don't know which is your last two steps because there are so many steps. There is no numbering of the steps. So till here, I'm hoping no problem. So what will happen? This is a 7-membered carbocation you will get. Now from the next position, carbon having positive charge, next position, next sigma bond is this sigma bond. This sigma bond will break like this, so that third carbon gets a negative charge. Third carbon negative, first carbon positive will form a bond with each other. Whereas second and third carbon bond is broken, right? So you can see we have broken the bond between, okay, there is a one mistake, students. We have done one mistake. Just a minute. This second carbon is not bonded to third carbon. It is bonded to first carbon because we have broken the second, third carbon bond. So it is broken to first carbon. But anyways, product will not be affected. Pranav, can you please call me on this? I can't answer all these things on chat. Whether I should teach Pranav or whether I should answer your chats here. Can you please tell me that? Your such chats itself is decreasing my rate. And you're talking about rate, Pranav. Pranav, have this essence that what you should speak about where. Your every message will distract me from teaching. So remember that. So only ask those things which are relevant now. Now you see, you have got second, third carbon bond broken. So there is no bond between second and third carbon. First and second carbon bond is there. Second carbon got positive charge because the bond was breaking like this. So we gave positive charge to it. So this is 6-membered ring. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6-membered ring. We have drawn. Next to that, that is this carbon is having a positive charge. Right? Now, it's a primary carbocation. So from the next carbon, hydride will shift so that you get a positive charge on this carbon. Right? So this is your tertiary carbocation, stable one. Right? So what will happen? Next step, next carbon, say this is a carbon having positive charge. From the next carbon, H plus will be lost, minus H plus, minus H plus. Either you can remove it from this carbon, so you'll get a negative here, positive here, double bond, or you can remove it from this carbon. That means positive charge ka next carbon to the positive charge. So this carbon is positive charge, next carbon is this. Remove H plus from here, you'll get negative charge here. Positive, negative will form a bond. So I hope it is clear now, Kayuri. Kayuri, I hope we have understood this now. Kayuri, Aishwarya, everyone. Right. Now this is all about your dehydration of alcohol. I am giving you one homework question. You have to find, also I'm writing it here, rate of dehydration. Rate of dehydration is directly proportional to stability of carbocation. rate of dehydration is directly proportional to stability of carbocation. Most stable is the carbocation, and you should know stability of carbocation is directly proportional to plus R and plus psi effect, right? You can take the example. I'm giving you homework. Among the following carbocation, what is the order of rate of reaction? Determine the order of rate of reaction. Determine the order of rate of reaction for dehydration of alcohol. A, B, C, D. What is the order of rate? Next question. Again, A, B, C. What is the order of rate of carbocation? Try to solve these two questions. Third method of preparation is by dehydrohalogenation. By dehydrohalogenation reaction. So I'll write the reaction here. See carefully. If you take R alkyl halides, RCH2Cl, or any halogen, X can be fluorine, chlorine, bromine, iodine, any halogen. So what will happen among carbon and halogen, which is more electronegative, halogen? So bond will break like this. So this carbon will get a kind of a positive charge. So from next carbon, H plus will be eliminated, so that carbon gets a negative charge. Negative charge on this, positive charge on this will form a double bond. Now this H plus and this X minus will combine to form HX. But the question here is H plus is released. These compounds are not acidic. So to lose H plus, therefore you will add a base. Base will basically take this H plus, and base will help in release of H plus. What base we use here? We use alcoholic KOH. Alcoholic KOH. That means ROH in the presence of KOH act as a good base. It acts as a good base. Important thing, the carbon from which halogen is going is this carbon, let's say number 1. From the next carbon only, number 2, hydrogen should be eliminated. Since you are removing hydrogen and halogen, therefore it is called D. D means removal, hydrogen and halogen. So you are removing hydrogen and halogen together, therefore it is dehydrohalogenation. And this is also called 1,2 elimination, or 1 can also be named as alpha, 2 can be named as beta. It is also called alpha beta elimination. Important thing, halogen on first carbon, hydrogen on second carbon should be present. What is the base you use here? Base that you use here is alcoholic KOH. Remember, alcoholic aqueous KOH is not a base, not a good base. It is not a good base, but alcoholic KOH is a good base. I'll give you one more example for it. If you take Cl, let's not take a cyclic molecule. Let's take something like this, CH3. And another important thing, no carbocation formed. No carbocation formed. If there is no carbocation formed, that means there is no rearrangement. There is no rearrangement. No carbocation means a good base. There are a lot of criteria. We are not going into that. We have to discuss whole elimination reaction for that. A good base is something which is bulky and which is very heavy in size and which has high electron density. So I will write basic character, you can say, is directly proportional to steric hindrance, or you can say size, and directly proportional to plus R and plus I. So using this, you can design a good base, right? Let us take CH3 here, Cl here, CH2, Cl, CH3, sorry. Using this, I can write two products. So see carefully. I will show the homework question later. So see carefully. From this carbon, Cl will go. From the next carbon, that is this carbon, you can remove H so that your product will be CH3, CH3. This carbon positive, this carbon negative. So double bond, CH, CH3. And if you remove this carbon hydrogen, then you'll get CH2 negative charge here. So CH2 double bond C, CH3, CH2, CH3. Now this is product 1, this is product 2, which is major product. Second product is major product because it has 9 hyperconjugating structures. It has only 5 hyperconjugating structures. So it is minor product. Also, I told you it is Sachs-Jeff product. And this is Hoffman product. Right? So now you can note down the homework questions. Both the homework questions you can check. That's all for today class. Pranav, we will send out a notification on that. I think we haven't finalized it yet. We will inform you. Athar, we have not understood hyperconjugate structure. You should have asked that time only. If you still have not understood, you message me. I will explain you on call. I cannot explain you now. I can only explain you on call. For now, you can understand Athar. For here, at least you can learn this. If there is a double bond, next carbon is this. This is your alpha carbon. So how many alpha hydrogen this alpha carbon has? 3 alpha hydrogen. Similarly, this is double bonded carbon. Next carbon is this. So this is also alpha carbon. How many alpha hydrogen? 3. This is double bonded carbon. Next carbon is this. It also has 3 alpha hydrogen. So total how many alpha hydrogen are there? 9. So number of hyperconjugating structure is equals to number of alpha hydrogen. So since there are 9 alpha hydrogen, therefore there are 9 hyperconjugating structures. Similarly, check for this double bond. Next carbon is this 3 alpha hydrogen. Double bond. Next carbon is this 2 alpha hydrogen. So total how many hyperconjugating structures? 5 hyperconjugating structures. Right? Gaurav Hubli. So that's all for today, students. We are almost done with our preparations, major preparations. Some small reactions will finish in next class. Next class we'll try to finish alkenes. All right. So migratory aptitude order 3 degree. Oh my God, you are asking 3 degree what it is now. Sonali, you are asking 3 degree what it is now. 3 degrees tertiary, Sonali. At this point of time, if you guys ask what is 3 degree and 2 degree, then what is the point of studying whole GOC? This is primary. Right? All right, Sonali. Sonali, at this stage, you should know what is 3 degree. 3 degree refers to tertiary. We have discussed in carbon stability, no? Does alcoholic KOH H plus or only help in breaking of CH bond? It take H plus. See, I'll tell you, Netra here, see carefully. I didn't discuss the mechanism of it here clearly because it comes in elimination reaction. I just wanted to tell you the role of the reagent. So you can see here, alcohol plus KOH. So alcohols are acidic in nature. OH minus will be generated from KOH. OH minus is a kind of a base. So OH minus will take H plus from alcohol. It will give you RO minus. RO minus is a stronger base than OH minus because of plus psi effect of alkyl group. Now this RO minus will take H plus. This RO minus will take H plus from the carbon next to the carbon having Cl, so that you'll get a double bond. This is how it works, Netra. Next class 5:30 maths. Priyadarshini, bromination is selective. It means bromine is a bulky free radical. So bromine cannot move fast. So it will have enough time. It will have enough time to decide where and to which radical I should react. So since it has lot of time to decide, because it is bulky, it will not move fast. It will decide aram se that tertiary free radical is more stable. So it will react with tertiary free radical. Therefore, bromine is very selective in reacting. Chlorination is small, it will move very fast. So it will not get enough time to decide whether it is reacting with tertiary, secondary, or primary. Therefore, chlorination is selective, chlorination is reactive, bromination is selective, because bromination with bromine radical is large. It will move slowly, so react slowly. It will have enough time to decide between secondary, tertiary, and primary radical. Right? I hope it is clear, Priyadarshini. It comes from CH, Netra. It comes from CH. Netra, it comes from CH. In the examples of ring chain expansion and contraction, how does the bond break towards hydrogen? This is not the, see, it is not heterolytic cleavage which is happening. There is no H minus ion generated, right? You should understand it is just transferred. It is not like heterolytic cleavage happens, H minus form, C plus form. They are not remaining in solution. It is just, it was here, it was transferred. So the process is very fast. So it does not depend upon electronegativity. So that can happen. It's just a transfer of hydride ion. So for that, it can go against electronegativity also. Last step of ring contraction. Vedraj, why are you asking Hofmann bromide degradation now? It is there in second year. Ring contraction, last step is this. Chandan, you should know this, man. Chandan, you should know this. Chandan, you get a carbocation here. You understood this? Chandan, reply fast. I have another class waiting for this. So please reply fast, Chandan. So this carbocation, if you got, what will happen if you get a carbocation? See the mechanism, no? After you get a carbocation, from the next carbon, CH bond breaks. That's what I have done here. This is the carbon having a carbocation. From the next carbon, that is this carbon and this carbon, I have removed this CH bond and this CH bond. This carbon gets negative, this carbon gets negative. If you remove this H, positive and negative will combine to form this compound. If you remove this H, this carbon will get negative, positive and negative will combine to form this bond. So what is the problem in this, Chandan? It is same as the previous step. There is nothing new here. All right. Yes, Chandan, please, if you have understood, then reply. Chandan, this is what you are asking. All right. Thank you, Chandan.